sex and desire corrupts humans. This has influenced Christian thought for centuries, even into the secular modern society. Patriarchal interpretations, such as Genesis 3:16, has been interpreted by the patriarchal institutions within Christianity that a woman's desire for her husband, that the woman's desire was for her husband and he was to rule over her. This is used to reinforce male-led gender hierarchies, and the focus of sex became a wife's duty to a husband rather than a source of enjoyment or something she pursued on her own or with a consenting partner. The rise of purity culture since the late 70s up until even now, but was most popular in the 90s and early 2000s, was an expression of evangelistic purity culture, which has created shame around female sexual desire, sometimes twisting the mutual duty of spouses into a one-sided expectation for wives. Many women who grow up in high-control denominations of Christianity, such as fundamentalism, Baptist, etc., 1 out of 3 women go on to develop a sexual dysfunction, vaginismus, endometriosis, pelvic floor pain, inability to have sex, therapies needed to overcome a lot of the issues that these traumatized women have, such as panic attacks, passing out, dissociation. All of these symptoms are symptoms of a far bigger problem. Women are viewed in the church, 7 churches. I grew up in 3 Christian denominations. Women were viewed as prizes. A man bought her through marriage and used her. And I've read many books in 7 different Christian libraries and 3 different denominations. Not one time did they ever talk in any of the books, and they were usually at least 300 pages long. Not one time did they ever talk about women in a positive way. And let me explain. They did compliment women for tenacity, that they were the pinnacle of God's creation. But they never spoke about women with their own agency, their own sovereignty, their own autonomy, as their own person. They were always an extension of male control. Regardless of the age of a woman, she was always under the patriarchal control of her father, husband, or nearest male relative. And it's not like that in all denominations, but it was so intertwined in the denominations I grew up in. It was second nature. Women were not allowed to speak in church. And the only time, and this was a non-denominational church where a female just happened to be the music minister, which was a big no-no in the Southern Baptist churches. She was removed within 6 months, probably because a man didn't like her in a position of authority. Not one time in any of the 7 libraries and churches did I ever read a book that ever talked about a woman with her own agency. The only time female sexuality was even mentioned was for 2 reasons. She was doing things alone, like masturbation, or she either was or wasn't performing her duty after marriage. Women were never talked about in these books as having anything but being designed for relationships. You look at websites like Focus on the Family. They believe women's purpose is to be in relationships. Women don't even have a purpose until they're in a relationship. They don't have a purpose until they're pregnant and have kids. If you grew up in a denomination that treated women equally and you had a female pastor and females actually were able to be in senior leadership, that's great. I never experienced that in 30 years. my family